Evolution programmed humans with a brutal biological ultimatum: stay with the tribe or die alone in the wilderness. When you face the prospect of social exile, your brain doesn't simply register sadness. It fires up the exact same neural circuitry it uses to process physical pain. Social psychology refers to this as the agentic state. You stop thinking for yourself and adopt the beliefs, outrage, and instructions of the herd to stay protected within the group. Operating in this default state leaves your mind defenseless. You become an open target for conversational narcissists and emotional vampires, individuals who hijack your attention to regulate their own anxiety. Reclaiming your intellectual autonomy requires an intentional act of rebellion. You must override the biological mandate to blend in. Cognitive psychology's information processing model maps how humans handle data. To build an autonomous mind, secure the input node using the archetype of the monk. The monk creates a strict cognitive shield, utilizing mental schemas to identify and repel erratic social noise and manipulative data. The monk chooses heavy silence over chaotic social performance. They treat interpersonal boundaries as an essential defense mechanism for the self. Rigid social boundaries serve as a necessary firewall, preserving the internal mental bandwidth required for complex thought. Once the input is secured, surviving data moves to the second phase, the processing node. Some brains operate with low latent inhibition. Their cognitive filters are thin, absorbing megabytes of unfiltered environmental data every second. At this resolution, the brain tracks microexpressions, dissects conversational subtext, and maps behavioral patterns instantly. When a brain functions at this extreme sensory resolution, constant engagement in trivial small talk leads to cognitive collapse. The system burns too much energy on shallow information. For a highly perceptive mind, solitude is a biological requirement to prevent neurological overload. This isolation creates the environment for our second archetype, the artist. The artist operates entirely within the quiet confines of the processing lab. Entering total isolation free demands of social exchange theory, the constant subconscious calculation of social debts required in human interaction. Free from that social tax, the artist engages in cognitive synthesis. They sit with the discomfort of boredom to weave disparate, unguided ideas into a coherent internal structure. While the herd mind adopts pre-packaged group narratives to stay comfortable, the artist formulates deeply researched original belief systems. Intellectual depth and psychological stability are forged when the mind is stripped of the pressure to perform for others. Returning to our flowchart, the filtered input and synthesized processing finally feed into the last stage, actionable output. Here we meet the final archetype, the strategist. They operate from a state of cognitive independence. Most people are vulnerable at this stage. Manipulators control them by exploiting their need for external validation, peer pressure, and rapid emotional reactions. This pendulum illustrates the strategist's primary defense protocol, the deliberate pause. They use it to strip emotion from their reactions before making a decision. By severing the link between an emotional provocation and a reaction, the strategist renders the common tools of psychological manipulation ineffective. The system is now fully operational. The monk filters the input, the artist synthesizes the processing, and the strategist executes the output. Mastering this cognitive architecture dissolves the chains of social approval. You no longer comply with the herd because you no longer fear the isolation. Ultimately, the most formidable person in any room is the one who requires absolutely nothing from it.